The sun was setting over Valar Prime, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Dust floated in the air like tiny golden particles. In a small repair shop near the famous Burning Circuit racetrack, a human mechanic named Tay worked on an old engine. His hands were covered in black grease. His face had lines from years of hard work. He was not young anymore, but his eyes were still sharp. They were the eyes of a man who had seen many things and fixed even more. Tay's shop was small and messy. Broken machine parts lay everywhere. Tools hung on the walls. Old posters of famous racers covered the windows. The smell of oil and metal filled the air. It was not a beautiful place, but it was his home. On Valar Prime, humans were still new to the galaxy. Most alien species thought of them as primitive creatures. They called humans apes and dirt walkers. They laughed at human technology. They said human machines were ugly and simple. But Tay did not care what they said. He knew the truth. His hands could fix anything. He could make broken things work again. He could build machines that surprised everyone. The locals called him the miracle worker. When their expensive alien technology failed, they came to the human. When the fancy repair shops turned them away, they came to Tay. He never turned anyone away. He always found a way. The door of his shop opened with a creaking sound. Tay looked up from his work. He expected to see another customer with a broken speeder or a damaged drone. But what he saw made him stop. A medical platform floated into his shop. It was a flat, hovering bed with soft cushions and blinking lights. On this platform lay a young Mira girl. The Mira were a beautiful species. They had thin bodies covered in soft, silver skin. Their eyes were large and dark like pools of night water. Most beautiful of all were their wings. Mira wings were like glass, thin and shining, catching light in rainbow colors. But this girl had no wings. Or rather, she had broken wings. They lay flat against her back, shattered and still. They would never move again. Behind her walked a tall Mira male. He had strong wings that twitched with every step. His face was serious and hard. He looked at Tay's shop with disgust in his eyes. "This is a mistake," the tall one said. "We should leave." "No," the girl said. Her voice was soft but firm. "This is the place." Tay put down his tools. He wiped his hands on a dirty cloth. "Can I help you?" The girl looked at him. Her dark eyes held something that Tay recognized. It was a fire, a hunger. He had seen that look before, long ago, in his own mirror. "My name is Lyra," she said. "This is my brother Varric. I want you to build something for me." "What do you need?" Tay asked. "Is your platform broken?" "No," Lyra said. She reached under her cushion and pulled out a stack of metal sheets. On them were drawings, lines and circles and shapes scratched into the metal with careful hands. "I want you to build me a Podracer." Tay took the sheets. He looked at the drawings. They were simple and rough. They showed a racing pod with 2 engines and a small cockpit. The design was not professional, but it was clear. Someone had spent many hours on these drawings. "A Podracer," Tay repeated. He looked at the girl, at her broken wings, at her still body. "You want to race?" "Yes." Varric stepped forward. "This is madness. Tell her it cannot be done. Every mechanic on this planet has told her the same thing. She needs to hear it from you, too." Tay looked at the drawings again. Then he looked at Lyra. "Why do you want to race?" he asked. Lyra was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely louder than a whisper. "When I was small, before the accident, I could fly. I would go up into the clouds with my mother. We would dance in the wind together. It was the most beautiful feeling in the world." She paused. Her hands trembled slightly. "Then the accident happened. A transport ship exploded near our home. The fire took my mother. It took my wings. It took everything." Varric looked away. His jaw was tight with old pain. "The doctors said I would never move again below my thorax," Lyra continued. "They said I should accept my life, stay on my platform, be grateful I am alive." She looked at Tay with fierce eyes. "But I cannot accept it. Every night I dream of flying. I dream of the wind on my face. I dream of moving fast and free. When I wake up, I am still trapped in this body, still stuck on this platform." Her voice grew stronger. "I have watched every race on the burning circuit for 5 years. I have studied every turn, every jump, every trick. I know that track better than pilots who have raced it 100 times. I may not have legs or wings, but I have a mind. And my mind wants to fly." Tay said nothing. He just listened. "Everyone says it is impossible," Lyra said. "They say a paralyzed pilot cannot race. The reactions are too slow. The body cannot respond fast enough. They say I am dreaming a foolish dream." She held out her thin hand toward Tay. "But I heard stories about a human who makes impossible things happen. A man who fixed a Silurian star drive with nothing but wire and hope. A man who built a working engine from junkyard scraps. I saved my credits for 3 years to come here." Tay looked at her hand. It was small and delicate. It was the hand of someone who had never given up. "I am not asking you to make me walk," Lyra said. "I am not asking for a miracle. I am asking you to build me a machine that will let me fly again. Will you help me?" The shop was quiet. Outside, the sounds of the city continued. Speeders flew past. People talked and laughed. The world went on as always. Tay thought about his daughter. Her name was Yuna. She had been born sick on Earth, with muscles that did not work right. She had never run or played like other children. She had dreamed of the stars, of adventures in space. But she had died young, still dreaming, never reaching those stars. He had not been able to save her. He had not been able to build her wings. But maybe, just maybe, he could build wings for someone else. Tay took Lyra's hand. It was warm and soft. "I will help you," he said. Varric made an angry sound. "You cannot be serious. This is impossible. She will die in the first race." "Maybe," Tay said. He did not look at Varric. He looked only at Lyra. "But impossible things happen every day. That is what makes them interesting." Lyra smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. It was the smile of someone who had just been given hope. "When do we start?" she asked. Tay looked around his messy shop. He looked at the broken machines and scattered tools. He looked at the drawings of a Podracer scratched onto metal sheets. "We start now," he said. And with those words, something began. Something that would change not just their lives, but the entire galaxy, though none of them knew it yet. The dust of Valar Prime continued to float in the air. The sun finished its setting, and in a small junkyard shop, a human and a Mira girl began to dream together. The weeks that followed were filled with hard work. Every morning, Lyra arrived at Tay's shop before the sun rose. Her medical platform hummed softly as she floated through the door. And every morning, Tay was already there, working. At first, they faced a big problem. Normal pod racers needed pilots who could move their whole body. The controls required fast hands, quick feet, and sharp reflexes. A pilot needed to feel the machine with every part of their body. For Lyra, this was impossible. "We need to think differently," Tay said one night. He was sitting on an old crate, staring at designs on a cracked screen. "Other mechanics tried to make you fit the machine. That was their mistake." "What do you mean?" Lyra asked. "We will not change you to fit the machine," Tay said. "We will change the machine to fit you." He spent days studying Mira biology. He read old books. He talked to Mira doctors who thought he was crazy. He learned about their nervous system, how their brains sent signals to their bodies. Lyra's spine was damaged. The signals from her brain could not reach her lower body. That was why she could not move, but her brain still worked perfectly. It still sent signals. Those signals just had nowhere to go. Tay had an idea. Long ago, humans had developed simple brain interface technology. It was a way to connect a person's thoughts directly to a machine. Most advanced alien species had abandoned this technology. They said it was too rough, too imprecise, too primitive. But Tay did not care about what was advanced. He cared about what worked. He built a special helmet. Inside the helmet were thousands of tiny sensors. These sensors would read the electrical signals in Lyra's brain. When she thought about moving left, the sensors would detect that thought. Then they would tell the Podracer to move left. "You will not control the racer with your body," Tay explained. "You will control it with your mind. You will think, and the machine will respond." Lyra's eyes went wide. "Is that possible?" "We will find out," Tay said. Building the racer took months. Tay worked from morning to night. His hands became rough and cut. His eyes grew tired. But he did not stop. He used parts from everywhere. Old engines from crashed ships. Cables from broken communication towers, metal plates from abandoned buildings. Nothing was too small or too broken. Other mechanics came to watch. They stood outside Tay's shop and laughed. "Look at the human and his junk pile," one said. He was a tall being with 4 arms and green skin. "He thinks he can build a racer from garbage." "The Mira girl is wasting her money," another said. "That machine will fall apart before it leaves the ground." Tay heard them. He did not respond. He just kept working. Lyra helped in every way she could. She could not use her hands for heavy work, but her mind was sharp. She studied racing patterns. She calculated engine speeds. She memorized every turn of the burning circuit track. "The third turn has a strong wind current from the east," she would say. "We need the stabilizers to adjust automatically." Tay would nod and make the changes. They talked during the long nights. Tay learned about Lyra's life before the accident. She had been a dancer. Mira danced in the air, using their wings to create beautiful patterns. Lyra had been one of the best in her village. "My mother taught me," Lyra said softly. "She said dancing was like conversation with the wind. You speak, and the wind answers." Tay told her about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests, about cities full of millions of people. About his daughter, Yuna, though he did not say much. Some wounds were still too fresh. Varek came to the shop often. He did not help with the building. He just watched with worried eyes. "You are giving her false hope," he told Tay one evening. Lyra had fallen asleep on her platform, tired from a long day. "When this fails, it will destroy her." Tay was adjusting a fuel line. He did not look up. "What if it does not fail?" he asked. "It will fail," Varek said. "Everything fails. The universe does not give gifts to broken things." Tay stopped working. He turned to look at Varek. "I have seen many broken things in my life," he said. "Ships that should never fly again. Engines that should never start again. People who should never walk again. Do you know what I learned?" Varek did not answer. "Broken things can surprise you," Tay said. "Sometimes broken things are stronger than things that were never broken at all, because broken things know what it means to fall, and they are not afraid of falling again." Varek was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned and walked out of the shop. The racer began to take shape. It was not beautiful. The body was thick and heavy. The engines were large and loud. The cockpit was a strange mix of human and Mira technology. Alien mechanics who saw it laughed even harder. "It looks like a flying rock," one said. "The girl will be lucky if it moves at all," another said. But Tay did not build for beauty. He built for strength. He built for function. Every piece had a purpose. Every wire had a reason. The NeuroSync helmet was the most difficult part. Tay spent weeks calibrating it. The sensors needed to read Lyra's thoughts perfectly. Even a small error could be deadly at racing speeds. They tested it hundreds of times. Lyra would think about moving, and Tay would measure the response. Too slow. Try again. Too weak. Try again. Wrong direction. Try again. Lyra never complained. She tried again and again. Her determination was like steel. Finally, the day came to test the whole machine. Tay pulled the racer outside into a wide, empty field behind his shop. The twin suns of Valar Prime beat down on them. Dust swirled in the wind. Lyra floated next to the racer. Her eyes reflected the machine's metal surface. "It needs a name," she said. Tay looked at the bulky, ugly racer. It was not elegant, it was not pretty, but it was strong. It was real. "What name do you want?" he asked. Lyra was quiet. She thought about her mother, about dancing in the wind, about conversations with the sky. "Songbird," she said. "Her name is Songbird." Tay nodded. He helped Lyra into the cockpit. It was specially designed for her body. Soft supports held her in place. The neurosync helmet lowered onto her head. "Are you ready?" Tay asked. Lyra closed her eyes. For a moment she looked peaceful. Then her eyes opened and they were full of fire. "I am ready." Tay stepped back. He held a small control panel in his hands. This would let him stop the racer if something went wrong. "Start slow," he said. "Just think about rising, about lifting off the ground." Lyra closed her eyes again. She thought about flying, about wind, about freedom. The Songbird's engines hummed. Then they roared. The heavy machine shook. Dust flew everywhere. And then, slowly, impossibly, it lifted off the ground. Lyra opened her eyes. She was 3 meters in the air, then 5 meters, then 10. Tears rolled down her face. Her body could not move, but she was flying. "I am doing it," she whispered. "Tay, I am flying." Tay watched from below. His old eyes were wet. He remembered his daughter. He remembered all the things he could not give her. But today he had given wings to someone who needed them. "Fly," he said quietly. "Fly as far as you want." And Lyra did. She flew across the field. She flew between old buildings. She flew through clouds of dust. The songbird was not graceful. It was not beautiful. But it moved when she thought. It turned when she wanted. It responded to her mind like it was part of her body. Below, without anyone noticing, Varric stood watching. His face was unreadable. But his hands were shaking. He had never seen his sister so happy. Not since before the accident. Not since their mother died. Maybe, he thought, maybe he had been wrong about the human. Maybe impossible things could happen after all. The sun set over Valar Prime, and in the orange sky, an ugly Podracer flew in circles. Inside, a paralyzed girl was finally free. The day of the qualifier race arrived like a storm. The sky over the burning circuit was gray and angry. Wind howled through the canyons. It was perfect racing weather, the announcers said. Dangerous, exciting, deadly. Lyra sat in the Songbird's cockpit. The neurosync helmet was cold against her head. Around her, 20 other racers prepared their machines. They were all beautiful, sleek and shining, with smooth curves and glowing engines. They looked like weapons made of light. The Songbird looked like a rock with engines attached. Pilots walked past Lyra's machine. They pointed and laughed. Some did not even try to hide their words. "Is that a racer or a garbage truck?" one said. "Look at the pilot. She cannot even move. How will she race? This is an insult to the sport." Tay stood beside the Songbird, making final adjustments. His face was calm, but Lyra could see his hands working faster than usual. He was nervous, too. "Ignore them," he said without looking up. "They are scared of you." "Scared?" Lyra almost laughed. "They are laughing at me." "People laugh when they do not understand something," Tay said. and they do not understand you. A paralyzed girl in a junkyard racer competing against the best pilots in the sector. They have never seen anything like you before. A shadow fell over them. Lyra looked up. Standing beside the songbird was the biggest creature she had ever seen. He was a Torvax, a species known for their size and strength. His skin was dark red, like old blood. His eyes were yellow with black slits. He had a mouth full of sharp teeth, and he was smiling. "So this is the famous cripple," he said. His voice was deep and rough. "I am Dren. I am the champion of the burning circuit. I have won 7 times. Tay stepped forward, but Dren ignored him completely. "I have heard about you, little broken bird," Dren continued. He leaned close to Lyra. His breath smelled like metal. "They say you want to race with us, with real pilots. Is this true?" Lyra met his yellow eyes. She did not look away. "It is true," she said. Dren laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Then today, I will teach you a lesson. I will show you what happens when broken things try to fly with eagles." He looked at Tay for the first time. "And when this is over, take your pet ape and go back to whatever hole you crawled from." He walked away, still laughing. Tay's hands were shaking, but not with fear, with anger. "Do not listen to him," Lyra said softly. "We knew this would happen." "I know," Tay said, but his voice was tight. "I know." The qualifier race would choose the top 10 pilots for the championship. 30 racers would compete. 20 would fail. The track was the burning circuit, a course through volcanic canyons and magnetic storms. Many pilots had died on this track. The racers lined up at the starting line. The songbird was in the last position. No one had expected her to enter, so she had no proper place. Lyra closed her eyes. She felt the neurosync helmet reading her thoughts. She felt the songbird around her like a second skin. She could sense its engines, its stabilizers, its fuel lines. It was part of her now. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Lyra's heart was beating fast. Her thoughts were scattered. Fear, doubt, excitement, all mixed together. 7, 6, 5. She thought about her mother, about dancing in the wind, about the day everything changed. 4, 3, 2. She thought about Tay, about his quiet faith in her, about the months of work, about the dreams they shared. 1. The horn sounded. The racers launched forward like arrows from a bow. Lyra thought about speed. The songbird responded. Its engines roared. The world blurred around her. But something was wrong. Her thoughts were too wild. The fear, the pressure, the noise of the crowd. It all mixed together in her mind. The songbird felt her confusion. It jerked left when she wanted right. It slowed when she wanted fast. She fell behind immediately. 1 racer passed her, then another, then 5 more. "Focus, Lyra!" Tay's voice came through the communication system. "Clear your mind." But she could not. The track rushed toward her. A sharp turn appeared. She thought about turning, but her thought was mixed with fear of crashing. The songbird responded to both. It turned, but too hard. She almost hit the canyon wall. The crowd watching on screens laughed. Some cheered for her to crash. "The cripple is struggling," an announcer said. "This is exactly what we expected. She should not be on this track." Lyra heard it all. Her eyes filled with tears. The neurosync helmet read her sadness. The songbird slowed even more. More racers passed her. She was almost last now. Only 2 racers were behind her, and they were catching up fast. "I cannot do this," she whispered. "Tay, I cannot do this." There was silence on the communication line. Then Tay spoke. "Lyra, can you hear me?" "Yes." "I want to tell you something about my daughter." Lyra blinked. This was not what she expected. But she listened. "Her name was Yuna," Tay said. His voice was soft, almost lost in the engine noise. She was born on Earth with a sickness. Her muscles did not work right. She could never run or play like other children. She spent her life in a chair, looking at the sky. Lyra flew through a narrow canyon. She barely noticed. She was listening. Yuna loved the stars, Tay continued. Every night she asked me to carry her outside. She would point at the lights in the sky and ask me their names. She wanted to travel to every one of them. She had so many dreams. His voice cracked slightly. She died when she was 7 years old. A cold winter night. She was looking at the stars through her window. She told me she could see them dancing. Then she closed her eyes, and she was gone. Lyra's tears were flowing now, but they were different tears. I could not save her, Tay said. I could not build her wings. I could not give her the stars she wanted. I failed her. That is something I will carry forever. The track opened into a wide valley. Volcanic rocks flew past like bullets. Lyra dodged them without thinking. But when you came to my shop, Tay said, I saw something. I saw Yuna's eyes in your eyes, that same fire, that same hunger for the sky, and I knew that I had been given another chance. Lyra's mind was clearing. The fear was fading. Something else was taking its place. I could not build wings for my daughter, Tay said, but I built wings for you. So fly, Lyra. Fly for yourself. Fly for me. Fly for Yuna. Fly for everyone who was told they could not. Lyra closed her eyes. She thought about Yuna, a little girl she had never met, a girl who loved the stars, a girl who died still dreaming. She thought about Tay working through the night to give her this chance. She thought about her mother, dancing in the wind, teaching her to speak with the sky. When she opened her eyes, they were clear. Her mind was quiet, focused, sharp. She thought about speed, only speed, pure and clean. The songbird roared. It shot forward like a living thing. Wind screamed past the cockpit. The world became a blur of colors. One racer fell behind her, then another, then another. The crowd went silent. What is happening? An announcer said. The Mira girl is accelerating. She is passing racers. This is incredible. Lyra flew through the volcanic valley like she was born there. She knew every rock, every turn, every wind current. She had studied this track for 5 years. Now her knowledge became action. 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. The finish line appeared. She pushed harder. The songbird screamed with effort. 2nd place passed her at the last moment. She crossed the finish line in 3rd. But then 2 more racers crossed right after her. Final position, 7th place, just barely enough to qualify. The crowd was confused. They did not know whether to cheer or jeer. A paralyzed girl in a junkyard racer had qualified for the championship. Dren finished first. He looked at Lyra's position on the board. His yellow eyes narrowed with anger. This was not supposed to happen. In the pit area, Tay stood waiting. When Lyra's platform carried her out of the songbird, he was there. Neither of them spoke. There was nothing to say. Lyra reached out and took Ty's hand. His fingers were rough with grease and scars. Thank you, she whispered, for telling me about Yuna. Tay nodded. His old eyes were wet. She would have liked you, he said. Above them, the gray sky began to clear. Somewhere, perhaps, a little girl was finally seeing the stars. The night before the championship race, Tay sat alone in his shop. The songbird rested in the center of the room, its engines quiet, its metal body gleaming under dim lights. He had spent the whole day making final adjustments. Now there was nothing more to do but wait. Outside, the streets of Velar Prime were busy with excitement. The championship race was the biggest event of the year. Visitors had come from dozens of star systems. Hotels were full. Bars were crowded. Everyone was talking about the race, and everyone was talking about the paralyzed Mira girl who had somehow qualified. Tay did not care about the attention. He only cared about Lyra. Tomorrow, she would fly the most dangerous race in the galaxy. Tomorrow, everything they had worked for would be tested. A sound came from outside. Not the usual sounds of the city. This was different, deeper, louder. Tay walked to his window. His old eyes went wide. A starship was descending from the sky. But it was not an ordinary ship. It was massive, elegant, and beautiful. Its surface was white and gold, decorated with symbols that Tay recognized. They were the symbols of the Galactic Concordance, the most powerful government in the known universe. The ship landed in the empty field behind Tay's shop, the same field where Lyra had first flown the Songbird. A door opened in the side of the ship. Light poured out, bright and pure. A figure emerged. She was a Silurian, a species known for their wisdom and power. Her skin was pale blue, almost silver. Her eyes were deep purple, like galaxies contained in glass. She wore robes of white and gold that matched her ship. Behind her walked 4 guards in gleaming armor. They carried weapons that could destroy buildings. Tay opened his shop door and stepped outside. The Silurian woman walked toward him. Her guards stayed close. When she reached Tay, she stopped. For a long moment, she simply looked at him. Her purple eyes seemed to read his entire life. "You are Tay?" she said. It was not a question. "The human mechanic?" "I am," Tay said. "Who are you?" "I am Ambassador Chorus of the Galactic Concordance," she said. "I speak for 127 star systems. I have authority over billions of lives." Tay had never met anyone so important. But he did not bow or show fear. He just waited. "I have traveled across half the galaxy to find you," Chorus said. "I have heard stories about your work, about a machine that lets a paralyzed girl fly." "The stories are true," Tay said. Chorus's perfect face showed no emotion. But something changed in her eyes. "I have a daughter," she said quietly. "Her name is Nyla. She is 12 years old." Tay listened. 2 years ago, there was an assassination attempt against me. A bomb was placed in my home. Nyla was in the wrong room at the wrong time. The explosion damaged her spine. She cannot move from the neck down." Chorus's voice remained calm, but Tay could hear the pain hidden beneath. "I have taken her to every medical center in the Concordance. I have hired the best doctors, the finest surgeons, the most advanced scientists. They have all failed. They say her condition cannot be repaired. They say she must spend her life in a support chamber, unable to move, unable to feel, unable to live." She stepped closer to Tay. "But then I heard about you. A human mechanic on a small colony world who built a machine that let a paralyzed Mira girl fly. A machine based on technology that our scientists abandoned as too primitive. A machine that works through thought alone." Her purple eyes burned with desperate hope. "Can you help my daughter?" Tay thought about Nyla, a 12-year-old girl trapped in a broken body. He thought about Yuna, about Lyra, about all the people who were told they would never fly. "Yes," he said, "I can help her." Chorus's face almost changed. Almost. But centuries of political training kept her expression still. "Name your price," she said. "I can give you anything. Wealth beyond counting. A laboratory on the Silurian homeworld with the finest equipment in the galaxy. Citizenship in the inner sphere, where humans are respected instead of mocked. I can give you power, fame, anything you desire." Tay looked at the beautiful starship, at the armed guards, at the ambassador who controlled 100 star systems. Then he looked back at his small, messy shop, at the Songbird, waiting for tomorrow. "I will help your daughter," Tay said. "But not tonight." Chorus blinked. "What do you mean?" "Tonight I have a pilot who needs me. Tomorrow is her championship race. I promised to be there for her. I cannot break that promise." The ambassador stared at him. In her world, everyone had a price. Everyone could be bought. No one chose loyalty over advancement. "You would refuse my offer?" she asked slowly. "For a race?" "Not for a race," Tay said. "For a promise. I told Lyra I would help her fly. I will not abandon her now, not when she needs me most. Chorus was silent. Her guards shifted nervously. They had never seen anyone refuse the ambassador. After the race, Tay continued, I will come with you. I will help Nyla. I give you my word. But right now, my place is here. For a long moment, Chorus said nothing. Her purple eyes studied Tay like he was a puzzle she could not solve. Then, slowly, something changed in her face. It was small, almost invisible. But it was there. Respect. You are strange, human, she said. In my world, promises mean nothing. Power is everything. Yet you stand before me, refusing wealth and fame because you made a promise to a paralyzed girl. Tay shrugged. I am a simple man. I fix broken things. And keeping promises is how I stay unbroken. Chorus actually smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but real. Very well, she said. I will stay and watch your race. I want to see this machine you built. I want to see if a human's promise is worth anything. She turned and walked back toward her ship. Then she stopped. Tay, she said without turning around, I have met many powerful beings in my life, kings and queens, generals and admirals. None of them surprised me. But you? She looked over her shoulder. You are different. I do not understand you yet, but I think I would like to. The ambassador disappeared into her ship. The doors closed. The lights dimmed. Tay stood alone in the field, thinking about what had just happened. A chance to change his life had come and gone. And he had said no. A sound came from behind him. He turned. Lyra was there, floating on her medical platform. Her dark eyes were wide. I saw the ship, she said. Who was that? Tay told her everything. About Ambassador Chorus, about Nyla, about the offer he refused. Lyra was quiet for a long time. You stayed for me, she finally said. Her voice trembled. You could have had everything, and you stayed. I made you a promise, Tay said simply. Promises matter. Lyra's eyes filled with tears, not sad tears, grateful tears. I will win tomorrow, she said. For you, for Yuna, for Nyla, for everyone. Tay put his hand on her shoulder. Do not win for anyone else, he said gently. Win for yourself, because you deserve it, because you worked for it, because you are a pilot, and this is your race. Lyra nodded. She wiped her eyes. I will not let you down, she said. You could never let me down, Tay replied. No matter what happens tomorrow, I am proud of you. Remember that. They sat together in the field, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Ambassador Chorus was waiting. Somewhere, a little girl named Nyla was dreaming of moving again. And somewhere, in a place beyond the stars, maybe Yuna was watching too. Tomorrow would come. The race would happen. History would be made. But tonight, they just looked at the sky together, an old human mechanic and a young Mira girl with broken wings. Two broken things, sharing a dream of flying. The morning of the championship race arrived with fire in the sky. The twin suns of Valar Prime rose together, painting the clouds in shades of red and gold. The air was hot and electric. Even the wind seemed excited. Around the burning circuit, millions of beings had gathered. They came from every corner of the galaxy. They sat in massive floating stands that circled the track. They watched on screens that showed every angle. They cheered and shouted and bet enormous amounts of money. Today, 12 pilots would race. Only one would be champion. In the starting area, Lyra sat in the Songbird's cockpit. The NeuroSync helmet was snug against her head. She could feel the machine around her, waiting, ready. Tay stood beside her, checking systems one last time. His face was calm, but his hands moved quickly. He was nervous. She could tell. All systems are working, he said. The engines are perfect. The stabilizers are balanced. The fuel is full. Lyra nodded. I know. Tay looked at her. His old eyes were serious. The dragon's throat, he said. That is where this race will be won or lost. You know the section I mean. She knew. The dragon's throat was the final stretch of the burning circuit. It was a narrow canyon filled with volcanic vents, magnetic storms, and gravity wells that could crush a ship like paper. Many pilots had died there. Even champions feared it. Stay careful in the early sections, Tay continued. Save your energy. Let the others fight for position. The dragon's throat is where you will make your move. I understand, Lyra said. Tay reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small object. It was a piece of metal, roughly shaped like a star. My daughter made this, he said quietly, when she was 5 years old. She said it was a star, and that one day it would take her to space. He placed it in Lyra's hand. Carry it with you, for luck. Lyra closed her fingers around the little star. It was warm from Tay's pocket. She held it against her heart. I will bring it back, she promised. I know you will. The announcement came. Pilots were told to take their positions. Tay stepped back from the songbird. Fly well, he said. I will be watching. Then he was gone, walking to the observation area where he could see the race on screens. Lyra closed her eyes. She felt the little star in her hand. She felt the songbird around her. She felt her heart beating, steady and strong. She was ready. The 12 racers lined up at the starting line. The songbird was in position 10, near the back. Ahead of her were the best pilots in the galaxy. In position 1 was Dren. The Torvax champion sat in his sleek red racer, grinning with his sharp teeth. He looked back at Lyra and made a cutting motion across his throat. She ignored him. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The crowd went silent. Millions of beings held their breath. 7, 6, 5. Lyra thought about her mother, about dancing in the wind. 4, 3, 2. She thought about Yuna, about the stars. 1. The horn sounded. 12 racers exploded from the starting line. Engines screamed. The air shook with power. The race had begun. Lyra did not push too hard at the start. She let 3 racers pass her. She settled into position 11, second from last. The announcers laughed. The Mira girl is already falling behind. Perhaps she should have stayed home. She ignored them. She knew what she was doing. The track wound through volcanic canyons. Fire erupted from the ground. Rocks flew through the air like bullets. One racer crashed into a wall and exploded in flames. Another lost control and spun into a lava pool. By the halfway point, only 10 racers remained. Lyra was in position 9 now. She had slowly, carefully moved up through the pack. She was saving her strength, waiting. Dren was in first place, far ahead of everyone. His red racer cut through the obstacles like they were nothing. He was an excellent pilot, perhaps the best in the galaxy. Then came the moment everything changed. The racers entered a narrow passage between 2 volcanic mountains. There was only room for 2 ships at a time. Lyra was behind another racer waiting for an opening. Suddenly, Dren's ship appeared beside her. He had slowed down. He was waiting for her. Hello, little broken bird, his voice crackled through the communication system. Did you think I forgot about you? Before Lyra could react, Dren's racer slammed into the songbird. Metal screamed against metal. Sparks flew everywhere. The songbird's stabilizer tore away. Lyra lost control. The ship began to spin. The canyon wall rushed toward her. She was going to crash. The crowd gasped. Millions of beings watched in horror. In the observation area, Tay jumped to his feet. His face was white. No, he whispered. No, no, no. But Lyra was not finished. In that moment, time seemed to slow. She felt the songbird spinning. She felt the wall approaching. She felt death reaching for her. And then something happened. Her mind became perfectly clear. All fear disappeared. All doubt vanished. There was only her and the machine, one being, one thought. She thought about turning, not with her body, because she had no body to turn with. She thought with pure intention, pure will. The songbird responded. The damaged ship twisted in the air. It rolled. It corkscrewed. It threaded through a gap between two rock spires that was barely wider than the ship itself. The crowd went silent. No one had ever seen anything like it. A maneuver that would be impossible for any normal pilot. A turn that required no hands, no feet, no body at all. Just thought. Just will. Just pure connection between mind and machine. Lyra emerged from the gap, still flying. The songbird was damaged. Smoke poured from one engine. But she was alive. She was still in the race. What just happened? An announcer stammered. The Mira girl. She should be dead. That maneuver, it was impossible. Dren looked back in shock. His yellow eyes were wide with disbelief, but there was no time to wonder. The dragon's throat was ahead. The final section of the burning circuit was a nightmare of stone and fire. Volcanic vents shot flames into the air. Magnetic storms twisted the space around them. Gravity wells pulled at ships from every direction. Dren entered first, followed by 3 other racers, then more, then Lyra. She was in 7th place now. The songbird was limping. One engine was working at half power. The missing stabilizer made every movement dangerous. But she did not slow down. She flew into the dragon's throat like she had been born there. She dodged flames. She slipped through magnetic storms. She used the gravity wells to slingshot herself forward. 6th place, 5th place, 4th place. The announcers were screaming now. The Mira girl is climbing. She is passing racers in the dragon's throat. This is unprecedented. This is impossible. 3rd place, 2nd place. Only Dren was ahead now. His red racer was close to the finish line. Lyra pushed harder. The songbird screamed with effort. Metal groaned. Systems failed one by one. But she did not stop. The finish line appeared ahead. Dren crossed first, his fist raised in triumph. Lyra crossed second, then a 3rd racer, a 4th. The race was over. Dren had won. Lyra had lost. But no one was looking at Dren. Everyone was looking at the times, at the section times. Lyra's time through the dragon's throat was faster than anyone in history. She had broken a record that had stood for 50 years. A paralyzed girl in a damaged junkyard racer had just flown the most dangerous section of the galaxy's most dangerous track faster than any pilot who had ever lived. The crowd did not know how to react. Some cheered. Some sat in stunned silence. Some wept. In the pit area, Tay watched the numbers on the screen. He could not believe what he was seeing. Lyra floated out of the songbird on her medical platform. Her face was pale, her body was exhausted, but her eyes were shining. I did not win, she said to Tay. No, he agreed. You did not win. He pointed at the screen, at the record, at the time that would be remembered forever. You did something better. Ambassador Chorus stood nearby, watching. Her purple eyes were wet with tears she did not try to hide. She had seen many things in her long life, but she had never seen anything like this. A broken girl, a human mechanic, an impossible machine, and a flight that would change the galaxy forever.